Spike, Fleur-De-Lis, A True Love by Switch-Double. There is a normal day in Canterlot for Fleur-De-Lis. She is helping her friend Fancy Pants with some designing or new clothes. Even she helping him a lot for many days, since she is his assistant, and they had known each other for many years. But there is something that she most wants and misses. That is to find her special song pony. She often gets out greetings for many stallions, either from the noble or other fashion designers. But even she most wants to know. She has dated many fashion designers from Canterlot, Trondheim, and even Manhattan. But none of them seems to has any connection with them. She even dated Fancy Pants for a couple of years back, but it didn't last long either, and they both agreed still to remain friends. And even at first after they dated, it felt a little bit uncomfortable for Fleur-De-Lis, but after some time she got used to it. But she most wants to find her special song pony. She even sometimes just didn't know if she would ever find him. And for most of the time she often works with Fancy Pants or any other fashion designers which she helps with. When she is working, she can't stop thinking and dreaming of her dream stallion one day would enter the store and then take her away into the sunset. But that never happened. And after so many times, she kind of gave up hope to find her special song pony. But that one day would change. Because one day when she was out for a walk, she walked into some pony and she said, "Sorry." "Oh, it's okay." And she saw it was Spike. Spike was in Canterlot with Rarity and Twilight for a meeting. Rarity was there for helping Fancy Pants and one of his new designs. And Spike was as usual alone, so he decided to take a walk through town, which he lived for some time. And he recognized Fleur-De-Lis immediately. And they had known each other since he moved away from town. Most of the time they often just talked a little bit. But now Spike said that he just felt a little bit lonely lately, and she offered him to maybe just if he wanted to take something to eat with her. And Spike said, yeah, sure. I'm kinda getting hungry. So they went to the local restaurant nearby so they could grab something to eat. While they were eating, Fleur-De-Lis asked Spike how was everything in Ponyville, how is to be Princess Twilight's assistant, and just sort of the basic questions, how is life in a smaller town from the capital. And Spike said at first it was a little bit hard to change from a castle life, a major city life, into more countryside life. But he adapted quickly, since he got many friends in town, and it even had, when he became Twilight's assistant, when she became a princess, that was a new, completely change in his life. And she even asked if he had found his special song pony yet, and Spike said No, I haven't. Spike admitted to Fleur-De-Lis that he had a crush on Rarity for some time, but he realized that he would never have any chance with her since she started dating Fancy Pants. And even he told Rarity how he felt for her, but she said that she only liked him as a brother, mostly. So Spike felt quite kind of heartbroken since he found out that she didn't like him in the same way back. At first it felt awkward for Spike to meeting or even talking to Rarity for some time afterwards. But Spike realized they had been friends for so many years, so he decided to at least be her friend, to be there for her at any time she needed help or talk. And Fleur-De-Lis thought that Spike was very mature, even for to be a baby dragon. And she admitted that to him. And Spike admitted that he just wanted to find his special sun pony, even if it would take years or eternity to find him, to find her. Even he thought Rarity was his special sun pony or the right mare for him. But since that, no, he didn't. So Rarity then had told Spike that he might find his special sun pony even just without him know it. And just for when they talked together at the restaurant, Fleur-De-Lis said to Spike that she actually kind of said that he was very handsome and very brave since he helped his friends to save Equestria for so many times. And Spike thanked her for the comment, and he said that he thinks that she is very beautiful as well. And just for that, she couldn't stop blushing and smile at him. And after the words they left, she thanked Spike for the company, and then she gave him a kiss. Spike didn't know how to react about it. So, he thanked her once again, and just before she left, he asked her if she would like to go out with him. And she said yes. And already next day, Spike went out with Fleur-De-Lis to another local restaurant, which they had a really great time. He was telling her some great funny stories and some of her old adventures, and she just listened carefully to him. She had never heard those stories in so much detail, especially with the fights against the Storm King's minions, and even when when he saved the Crystal Empire twice during the Friendship Games, Liquidity Games, and Sombras. Even Fleur-De-Lis was very impressed with that Spike, even he's just a baby dragon, but that he managed to save Equestria. So many times with her, his friends helps, even he just small part of it, but still was there to help. She said that he was like a knight in shining armor. And Spike just smiled and said, "Yeah, I feel like I am a knight, but even I'm not, but I feel like a knight." And after this dinner, and they just took a stroll together, middle of the evening, and they couldn't stop looking at each other. Spike went back to the castle where he stayed for his visit there. He had even told Fleur-De-Lis that he was going back home within a few days, and when she said, "I'm going to miss you, Spike. I really enjoyed this time to you." And Spike said the same thing with back. So just before then, Spike asked her if she maybe want to be his girlfriend, and she said yes. Even they had known each other for a couple of years and just talked to each other from back and forward side, but not seriously talking. But now they admitted to each other that they had strong feelings. And just as a surprise to Spike, a couple of months later, Fleur-De-Lis visited him in Pony because she said that she had some fashion designs with Rarity for the next couple of weeks. So she decided to visit her at the same time visit her boyfriend at the same time. But just some time afterwards of this, they had a very big fight. And the fight was caused about how they will celebrate their first 4 months anniversary together. Spike said he would like to visit to celebrate it in Ponyville, but she wanted to celebrate it in Canterlot. But then he said, why couldn't they go to like Manhattan? Since it's another big city which they had much more offer to celebrate it. But she didn't want to go there. She wanted to stay in Canterlot for the anniversary. So they had this big fight. So Spike said to her, well, if you don't want to go there, then we might stop talking to each other. And then he just left her apartment and went back home to Ponyville. And Fleur-De-Lis didn't speak to Spike for at least a couple of months afterwards. Even at first, she said, I hate Spike. I hate him. He's the worst dragon ever. I don't want to talk to him anymore. But then, she would regret it. Because during this winter that passed, she got sick. Seriously sick. And the doctors didn't know how to cure her. Because she had a very rare disease. It was called what I think was an ancient disease. And no pony had this disease for at least 500 years. And there was still no cure, which the modern doctors know about. Even the doctors has searched for an ancient archives in Castle or any other hospitals in Equestria, but no other ponies didn't know about it. And according to the doctor, they know this disease was called the blue sickness, or also known as blue heart disease. At the same time, Spike didn't know about this before until Twilight told him. And Spike was very worried at first. At first he didn't want to believe it. He said, she will get fine. The doctors can cure her. But Twilight explained the disease and how rare it was, and there was no known cure for it. Then Spike realized if he didn't talk to her now or forgive her, he will never forgive himself. He will lose his true love. And he asks Twilight, how much time has she left? Well, according to doctors, she might not survive much longer. They tried to keep her fever down, but it just won't get. They're just getting higher. They expect her to maybe 2 days at most. Spike felt it was like a rock fell in his heart. Spike went immediately to Sakura to ask her about this disease, if she knows any kind of cures, because she has much knowledge about medicinal cures and even has some knowledge about ancient diseases as well. And Sakura explained to Spike, even she knows that this cure has been cured for at least 500 years. But it has been not around for at least 5 centuries. but she said it is a cure. Spike said, "Where is it?" She said it is in the great swamp, in the evergreen forest, about northeast of the old royal castle. Spike didn't spend any moment anymore. He went back to his castle to bring a bag, and he left without telling Twilight or her friends, but he left a note that saying, "I'm going to the great swamp to find a cure for Fleur-De-Lis, and don't try to stop me. I want to help her. Sakura told me about this cure. It's a flower that grows in the swamp. Don't stop me. I want to save her. She is my great love." And Spike searched through the entire swamp for almost an entire day. Even through the night he searched for it. He was about to give up after almost another day. But then, just when he was about to give up, he found it. Middle of a small island in the great swamp. There it grew. He picked some of the flowers and went straight back to Sakura, and she made the cure in a bottle of liquid like a water. He went through the train station and took this fast train through the Canterlot, where Fleur-De-Lis was almost about to give up hope. Spike gave the doctors the cure, and they gave her to Fleur-De-Lis, but it took her at least a few days before she was full recovered from the disease. And Spike even gave the doctors a few other flowers, which they can use for future outbreaks of the disease. Fleur-De-Lis was very grateful to Spike that he did all of this to save her life. And Spike said, "I love you. I would do it all over again, even if it cost my own life. I love you, and I forgive you for this big fight. I don't care if we will celebrate as long as we are together." To hear that made her start to cry. And just after she was fully recovering from this disease, Spike and Fleur-De-Lis celebrate their 4th anniversary, even though it was 7 months they had been together, and it was very grateful, and it was very beautiful for them both. And just about that, Fleur-De-Lis found out that Spike really loved her so much that he would really sacrifice his own life to save her. And she knew that Spike was her true love that she has been waiting for. And even Spike remained in Canterlot with Fleur-De-Lis for the next few weeks to help her at the store with some fashion designs, anything she could need help with. Because Spike didn't believe she was fully recovered yet. So he wanted to help her. But she said to Spike, "I am well, Spike. You don't have to stay here much longer. I am well." "Yes, I know. I just want to be here for you." Even he could be like almost demanded to be there with her almost every moment. But Spike realized he would give her the space she needed. And just for all that, she will love him so much. And just 10 years later on, Spike actually then had the idea to bring the next step in the relationship. He proposed to her at her store in front of all the customers, and they all clapped their hooves and solo cheering for them both. And the wedding, it was a big one. Rarity helped with Coco Permel to organize the entire wedding, and Rarity was actually chosen to be Fleur-De-Lis' bridesmaid. And Spike, he actually had asked Fancy Pants to be his best man. Even they didn't hate each other, At first, Spike didn't like him so much, but after some time, he started to like him more, and they have actually started to have much in common. And afterwards, they went to Las Vegas for their honeymoon, and they went there for 2 whole weeks. And not more so surprised with Spike. Just barely a year later, Fleur-De-Lis told Spike that he was going to be a father. But as a surprise to him, she was actually expecting triplets. And Spike was so much surprised over this, but he was prepared to be a father, and he was there for Fleur-De-Lis entire time of the pregnancy. And Spike, well, he was much surprised to see that he had $3. Even when now Spike had to live in Canterlot, he still went back to Ponyville to be still as Twilight's #1 assistant. And what happened to Fleur-De-Lis, actually? Well, she still remained in her store in Canterlot. But her daughters, well, since they were half pony and half dragon, and they inherited their father's strength and bravery, and the fire breathing that could send scrolls to Celestia or Twilight. But they also liked fashion, like their mother, and they all of them became a fashion designer when they were old enough. And that's how Fleur-De-Lis and Spike found their true love and got a big family. The end.